Hello and welcome to DILAX Tech Talks, a mini-series about mobility data in public transit. My name is Meliton Chaidez and I'm a sales representative with DILAX here in the US. Before we dive into today's topics, let's give DILAX a brief and quick introduction. DILAX is a hardware manufacturing and software developing company specializing in people counting technology based out of Berlin, Germany. Founded in 1989, DILAX is said to be the inventor of automatic passenger counting, also known as APC for short. We work with a wide range of customers from around the world. One of our main markets is in public mobility, and we support not only the transit agencies, but also the vehicle manufacturers with people counting technology. But the reality is that the passenger flow does not stop at the vehicle itself. Our sensor technology is also used in many places like stations, airports, convention centers, shopping malls, stores, and many more places. With that being said, with our DILAX Tech Talks, we want to get up close and personal with that APC technology. And we also want to start a conversation on how the innovative technology is relevant to you. So without further ado, let's jump right into the topics. With me today is Michael Zander, president of DILAX US, and he has been with the company for over 10 years, so a lot of experience with us here today. He's also the global strategic product manager of DILAX. So again, Michael, thank you for joining us today. First, I would like to ask you a general question to just get the conversation started. What is automatic passenger counting and how does it work?
Thank you, Meliton. Automatic passenger counting is a system that allows you to count every single person that is boarding and alighting a vehicle. So what we do is we install counting sensors above the doors of a vehicle, and they record every person that gets on or off this vehicle. It works with all sorts of public transit vehicles like buses, trains, metro trains, and even ferries. The counting events are collected by the sensor and transmitted to a small onboard computer that then sends the data to the land site. So the system needs no assistance from the driver and is counting at every stop around the clock. The sensors have a very high counting accuracy of 99% with the largest generation, and they are even capable of identifying objects such as bikes, strollers, and counting them as well. So all in all, which is much more reliable and precise than any other data source in public transit, like for instance, Wi-Fi or ticketing data.
Interesting. So Wi-Fi and ticketing data you mentioned are part of alternative solution for people counting. But it sounds like they're not the most reliable, and automatic passenger counting sensors seem to be a little bit more. Why is that?
So an APC system is completely independent solution. So it's relying just on a working sensor and the onboard computer. So in order to collect passenger data using a Wi-Fi tracker, for instance, there needs to be a cell phone, and not everyone has a cell phone carrying in with him when he uses public transit. Also ticketing data, that's kind of similar because there are so many systems in place. You have paper tickets, you have digital tickets, monthly or yearly passes. It makes it difficult to collect accurate passenger information based on these data sources. So both of these systems can serve as a good guess or a good assumption, but they're definitely not as accurate as an APC system. So ultimately, that makes APC systems stands out is their ability to detect different objects with artificial intelligence algorithms. Like they can detect strollers or wheels or bicycles.
Got it. I want to throw out a hypothetical question. So let's say I have an APC system myself, and it's on a bus system, and the sensors are located above the doors. How does the data go from the actual sensor to a place where it's actually being analyzed and processed?
That's a very good question. So that happens in the back office on the land side, as we call it. So the collected counting data is combined with a timestamp and the stop on the line based on GPS location data already by the onboard computer, which we call the counting unit, passenger counting unit, or short PCU. So the PCU is transmitting the data in real time to the landside computer. Usually that's a server owned by the transit agencies, for instance, and that receive the mobility data from our sensors. From where the server put the data into a software to analyze it. So like what any business is doing, collecting data and then evaluating it with business intelligence.
Got it. So it sounds like there is constantly being fed thousands of bytes of information on a daily basis. When I think of that, I just think of Chicago itself. The public transportation system is involves trains, buses, and there's millions of people transiting them on a yearly basis. So that's a lot of data that's being processed. If you're counting every single passenger on every single route around the clock, what can you possibly learn from all that information?
So our business intelligence software called DILAX Citizens, by the way, is designed to analyze APC data and convert the raw data into information. It allows you to generate reports so you can see how many passengers boarded one specific vehicle at a certain time, to compare like days or months or even year periods, to get an overview how busy one line is at different times of a day. But you can also analyze the punctuality, for instance, or you can optimize your staff planning. So our customers define and track their own KPIs depending on their business model in an easy and efficient way. The data processing is a very, very important part of an APC, as it not only makes the amount of data handy, but also ensures a high quality of data. So accuracy of data and information is not only about capturing the data in the vehicles, but also keeping that high level through the whole data flow.
Got it. Okay. That's very interesting. And when you think about the data being collected in real time, you never really think about data as something tangible. It's always part of your digital life. But it's interesting to think about it in that sense where it's actually being collected on a daily basis. I get the impression that APC systems deliver very valuable solutions when it comes to mobility data. And I could think of many instances in which that data is important. So what are a couple examples of how that data can convert into something that's important?
Mm-hmm. So we believe that local mobility data is very much relevant to cities, transport authorities, municipalities, traffic planners, urban developers, and the passenger, of course, as well. So that's why we call it local data, because it is data generated constantly by people moving within the city. So locally moving. Every day, as people transit the city, they are creating travel patterns, and those patterns vary depending on the different modes of transportation they use, the weather, for instance, but also, of course, the date and the time. So analyzing local data gives us a clear picture about mobility patterns within the city, which is highly relevant to develop a resilient and sustainable public life in urban areas.
Got it. Got it. So I agree absolutely. I think that is a fantastic point, and it sounds like that's something that benefits communities as a whole. But first and foremost, public transportation operators and agencies take advantage of this data as well, and it's important for them too. From your experience, what are the top 3 benefits of investing into an APC system?
So I think there are way more than 3 if you ask me, but I try to pinpoint the top ones for you. So first, the data have a very high counting accuracy, and they are fully data private, which is always a plus in today's world. The second, APC number data contain a lot of information about the public transit network, as I mentioned before. The insights acquired from the APC data gives the management of transit systems reliable statistics on their services, allowing them to effectively evaluate the fleet, routes, punctuality, timetables, staffing, and also network plans. And all of that is possible in real time. Third, these insights play a critical role in important reporting functions transit systems needs, like line and network performance, utilization, average or peak occupancy, and also the so-called National Transit Database reporting. So knowing exactly how many passengers are using a transit system is very valuable when planning capacities, buying new vehicles, establishing a new route, or reporting ridership data. Mobility data of public transit are also very useful in city planning activities. And if I may add one extra benefit, real-time information about vehicle load are very useful for the ridership. we developed algorithms to predict the occupancy even at peak and low times. So passengers could see how crowded the train will be around 6 p.m., for instance. This is a very new advantage of APC data that only recently became important and in use.
Interesting, yeah. And I think those are especially relevant in today's day. I think that's something that is very real, and I think transit agencies all over the country are facing today. But with that said, that outlook on the future of APC system concludes our tech talk for today. Want to appreciate your time today, Michael. Thank you for joining us and giving us your insight. You can find more information about APC technology at our website, DILAX.com.